Hello, and I am so looking forward to having all your questions. Please feel free to throw it in the chat already up front. So today we will discuss self-custody, mostly from the aspect of being a custodian as an institutional. I don't know how much this ties into the topic of the attendees, but I hope that you will have a few takeaways and this presentation is going to be interesting for you. Before we move on, let me share a bit about myself. Who am I? And I see that there is another Hungarian on this call. So Sia, I'm really happy to share a bit about how I got into crypto, but also my professional background to date. So you see that right now I live in Switzerland, and before Switzerland, I lived in the UK. And most of these moves happened because of my professional career. I am originally from Hungary and do speak 5 languages. I work for a French company, but do not speak French yet. Hopefully that will change. And maybe a bit of an info how I got into crypto. So I was working for, I used to be working for Credit Suisse in Zurich. And the department I worked for was focusing on payments and basically providing solutions, easier payment solutions for SMEs who had multiple banking relationships. And I really thought that I want to do something what is more international and was really contemplating what should be my next step. And I went to my very first crypto meetup in 2017, which was hosted by the Crypto Valley Association, and the Shapeshift team was there. So you see that I come from traditional finance. My very first role was with Morgan Stanley in Budapest. And then from there, I moved on to GE Capital and Credit Suisse in Switzerland. And when I went to this crypto meetup, I noticed that the community is so inspiring and so vivid and so welcoming, and the average intelligence and knowledge of people at this community was definitely higher than other crowds I do hang out with. And I encourage all of you now that we can a bit more go to real person meetups to find a local crypto meetup and then go attend and meet people who already work in this ecosystem. So yeah, my introduction to crypto was through Shapeshift. So that was my employer in 2018 throughout the year. And then later I worked also and still working with Bancor to some extent. I'm on the council of the Bancor Foundation. You see the logo of Bancor here. And since 2021, I am proudly on the board of the Crypto Valley Association, which is a global association led and powered by the working groups. We have various working groups from regulatory to startup to investments to sustainability working group, which was recently launched. So I invite you to check out the website and be part of this vivid ecosystem if you're interested. And I joined Ledger. So my journey with Ledger started in 2020 and not with the little nanos I actually have here. I cannot ask the audience how many of you are familiar with Ledger or are holding a little nano. This is the retail arm, which I'm not part of. I'm part of the enterprise arm, so that's why you see enterprise solutions. I'm going to share more about that with you, but yeah, so 2020 March, that's when I started with Ledger, and I'm really happy to be working for this security company. A bit about the agenda, so history about Ledger, then we will touch base on the history of blockchain, and then I will give you a few hints on how to secure your crypto assets as an individual. And then in the second part of this session, we will be talking about Ledger Enterprise. So how to secure your assets at scale. So if you're an institution. Ledger Group, so it's really incredible, but by now we already have more than 700 employees. We sold on the retail side approximately 4.7 million devices. And maybe some of you are familiar with the newest addition to these devices, which is the Ledger S Plus. I can't show you how that looks because I don't have any of that. It's really hard to get them right now. you need to wait for those a bit. And we have offices in 7 locations globally. And then all the meta or the other data, I'm not going to read, but maybe just as an interesting data point, the latest funding, what Ledger completed was in June 2021. It was announced then, and that was 380 million. So if you're familiar with Ledger, then, or if you're not, maybe a bit of a time travel back to 2014, when the co-founders of Ledger, 8 really aspiring individuals, figured that in order for crypto to succeed and to advance, one needs secure infrastructure. No industry can grow if there is not adequate security behind it. So I see this as a building block. You definitely need infrastructure, you need security. And this is what Ledger has been providing since 2014. So we allow the individuals to really own their assets, to be their own bank. We always hear this in crypto. And basically we also hear all the time, not your keys, not your assets. So this is what is the bread and butter of Ledger is. So our mission is to allow the individual in a user-friendly manner. And if some of you have a Ledger Nano, then you may think that, oh yes, but this product is actually a product for geeks. So we are constantly working on the user friendliness and the adoption of having a more fitting UX UI. Again, a few data points, which were already on the previous slide. So just when it comes to geographies, the very first office has been in Paris, and the production side were the nanos, but not only the nanos, also the product, the Ledger Blues, which I will talk more about. This is part of the enterprise solution. They are produced in Vierzon, which is really close to Paris, as in 100 kilometers. And it's nice that everything is put together there. So the R&D is done there, but also the production is done in Vierzon. Then we have a commercial office in Zurich, in Singapore, in New York, and then we are in the verge of opening an office in Portland, Maine. And yeah, the office in London, I forgot to mention that. So this is how the 7 offices come together. We did touch base a bit already on the consumer wallets, the nanos, but then the custody technology, what Ledger Enterprise enables, it's basically a wallet management platform enabling institutions to safeguard their assets according to their highest security needs. Because you imagine that if you hold hundreds of millions on this little nano, I don't know where I put it right now, but yeah, basically if you hold these assets, and asset managers have been holding these assets on the nanos in hundreds of millions or tens of millions, billions as well, then you really have to trust your team, the operational team. Plus you have to trust yourself as well, that you're not making a fat finger error, you're not sending the wrong amount to the wrong address. So this is why all these clients have asked us to create an enterprise solution. And this is how the Ledger Vault came about. Yeah, back to the future. So let's take a look back a bit. I am not sure that everyone on this webinar is familiar with what blockchain is. So the blockchain is a distributed, public, and secure ledger. And what that really means is, I'm trying to click to the next. Let me see. Here we go. So I'm sure a lot of you have this analogy that basically it's a bookkeeping record and everything is documented, that who owns what, who is sending to who at what time. So basically imagine it as a big source of information where everything is documented. So a public ledger, right? But there is no central authority. There is no CEO, CMO, or who has central power over the data, and no one gets to decide. As in, no authority controls the book or decides what gets written here. And this is distributed across thousands of users. I mean, not just thousands. We know that anyone can look up anything on the block explorer, depending on the blockchain. If it's Monero, then it's a different topic. But basically distributed across anyone who has access to the given block explorer. To change something in the book, you must comply with the rules of the system. So the characteristic of the blockchain that it is distributed, so it's distributed to all points of networks. There is no central authority to censor the information, so censorship resistant. It's secure. The transactions and coins cannot be faked thanks to cryptographic proof, which solves the double spend problem. And it's also public, which we already talked about on the previous slide. On this slide, basically, why Bitcoin matters, and Bitcoin is my favorite coin because Bitcoin is not just an asset where you really try to make gains on, or as in the first moment people get attracted to crypto is, okay, I can make a quick win, a quick investment with high return, but the more you learn about Bitcoin, the more you also realize that you want to learn about why is this new and why is this revolutionary, and how fiat currencies are working, and who is really in power, and why the inflation is happening in the way it is. So you ask all these questions, and here I would love to highlight a really good piece written by Alex Gladstein, which is A World Without Bitcoin. So if you have the chance to read this or listen to, there's a podcast version about this. It's a little essay where we are in 2040 and Bitcoin does not exist. And so he depicts this reality or this dystopia. And then in the second part, he says, but this will not happen because we actually have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is also a mindset. So I encourage everyone to listen to this. So here, the currency, a lot messier than you think, and by learning more about Bitcoin, you realize this. That yeah, it's a lot messier, and what money is, and you learn about Bretton Woods more in depth, and here a few events to highlight. So the bank runs during 1923's Great Depression, where people were storming the banks to pretty much get out their money. Then hyperinflation in Germany in 1930, and then demonetization in Myanmar in 87, where 70% of the country's currency was worthless and was eliminating the savings of millions of Burmese. So now going back a bit, like moving away from history of money and all these few historical points to how blockchain works. So here I just want to highlight that this is a little snippet of from a Bitcoin block explorer, and then just to show that everything is visible here. You see the hash. You see when this transaction occurred, as in which miner completed this, like end pool, right? Then you see that everything here has been verified. You also see that what was the input total, the output total, everything is available publicly. Everything is linked, and chained. This is where blockchain comes from, and that's why we call it blockchain. I mean, and then you also see here like some technical details on the right hand side. But what is missing and what I don't see, you don't see the address. You see the hash. So if I was copying this hash here and would go on the block explorer, then was able to find and see from which address to which address was this really sent. So what does it mean to own a crypto asset? Because we say be your own bank, not your keys, not your crypto. But when it comes to owning the crypto asset and have full control of the private key, basically you can receive crypto, right? So the crypto assets never leave the blockchain. When you send the Bitcoin to someone, you give them the power to spend the Bitcoin, and the private key. So let's start from here, that to send crypto, you need the private key and the public key. But the private key will not be needed to receive crypto. Only the public address is needed. So the private key is what you never want to give away. And if the holder is in self-custody and wants to have his crypto managed by a third party, he will not hand over his private key. No one exchanges his private key. But he will operate a transaction that will allow to send the crypto asset to the public address of the custodian. So if you're using a software wallet and you rely on this exchange where your software wallet is, you really have to trust this exchange operating software wallet, because if the exchange shuts down, then you won't be able to have access to your crypto assets. That's why if you hold your private key on the paper wallet, or you really have it and not entrusting a custodian with that, then you are in control, really. Now I need to user owns private keys, right? So with a hardware wallet or a paper wallet, you do own your private key. What does a private key look like? It's only a complex bunch of letters and numbers, like here you see in the given example at the bottom of the slide. So public and private keys, private and public key is the key concept to understand how a transaction is secured. And the best analogy is a letterbox, because with a letterbox, you can receive letters from anyone, anytime, if they know your home address and name. But to open the letterbox and get the letters with a key you own is only if you have the key to your letterbox, the private key, right, in this analogy. And your home address and name is the public key. Yeah, so basically it explains that the key to open the box is the private key. Never lose or share your private keys, or you can't get your letterbox anymore, or you can't get your letters anymore. And this is another parallel, which is really cool, because if someone has your private keys, then they can figure out the public key. But if someone has your public keys, they cannot figure out your private key. So also that, like from a chicken, you can make chicken nuggets, but from nuggets you cannot create a chicken. So it's a one-way function, and this is the basic of asymmetric encryption, on which most of the internet is based. Yeah. So when it comes to storing your crypto assets, there are multiple ways to manage private key and generate public keys. And that is able to perform transactions into the blockchain, where you can manage different cryptocurrencies. Now imagine if you have 50 various cryptocurrencies, do you need to have 50 various public keys? So this is something what Ledger Ledger solves for you. You don't need to have 50 various private keys. So, oh yeah, I run ahead a bit. When it comes to setting up a ledger, and I can't ask you guys how many of you have a hardware wallet, not necessarily only Ledger, there are other hardware wallets out there. But when you set up this little device, then you know that it is a bit cumbersome. You have to write down on paper all these words, and you never should disclose your seed phrase, the 24 words, and you must never store your seed online. Don't send it to you, to yourself in an email or a Google Doc. And if you lose your seed, you lose your funds, which is pretty straightforward and gives you the power of really being the custodian of your assets. And never ever disclose your seed. So yeah, basically, I said this earlier. A little meme, because why not? Yeah. And then how Ledger does it on the little nanos here. This is a Ledger Nano S, what you see here. So Ledger's expertise lies in securing the private keys, and what makes sure that our users' funds are safe all the times, and that it cannot be compromised. To do that, we use our extensive cybersecurity to develop solutions which can withstand any form of hack. So basically, Ledger has been the first, or is the first, security company to use pin and chip technology in order to secure your crypto. This presentation will be available to all of you. So yeah, the secure chip. Now the secure element, and why does it matter for blockchain? Basically, this piece of hardware is specifically designed to withstand any form of attack vector, be it a side channel attack or fault injection, etc. But you may say that, yeah, but sometimes you're blind signing on a ledger because you cannot see the entire address you're sending to, which is true. That's why this solution, the enterprise solution, solves that, because the screen is much bigger and you see everything. You see the address you're sending to, and you see the amount. And what you see on the screen cannot be compromised. So because private keys and seeds are so sensitive, attackers have an incentive to try and hack it. And hacks actually happen all the time. But thanks to this chip, the secure element, this is made impossibly difficult. And why we dare to write this there and be so self-confident about this, because I shared with you the data point where more than 4.7 million devices have been sold and no Ledger device was ever hacked. And how we are able to do this and achieve this, that we have the Donjon team. Donjon is the name of the internal hacker team, which consists of 8 cybersecurity experts who constantly work on trying to hack the nanos, but not only nanos, also institutional setups, be it a multi-party computation or another HSM-based setup. And also they are trying to hack and have been, we were successful at hacking other hardware wallets. So let's speak about the Ledger Enterprise, which is my home field, because I have been working for the enterprise arm, the B2B arm of Ledger, for 2 years, and I'm definitely more familiar with what is going on with the enterprise solution. So when you are an institution and you want to make sure that the high amount of assets, up from 10 millions to billions, are managed in a way where you're not compromising on usability and also not compromising on security, so managed in a way where you can sleep in the evening, but also don't need to cumbersomely execute transactions across your team. You have two main categories, which we break it down on the right or the left-hand side. So you can be a technology provider, what Ledger is. So we provide self-managed custody infrastructure. So we allow the institution to be the custodian of the funds, or you can go in the second option, you can go with a professional custodian, such as Komainu, or such as CoinShares could be your custodian. And when it comes to the setup, Ledger is providing a software as a service on the enterprise arm. So we don't deliver any technical stack, any hardware security module, so no hardware to the premises of the institution. I want to make you aware, however, that some private banks who hold a large amount of crypto, they don't want to go with the cloud solution. For them, it's important that the technical stack, the hardware where the main secret is stored, encrypted, that it is in their data center. Maybe it's in their cellar, maybe it's in their secure data center in the town or in the country where the private bank is domiciled. I want to give you a sneak peek of who are some of the industry leaders who built their company and manage their assets with the help of Ledger Enterprise. I believe that Crypto.com in this crowd, what we have today in the webinar, doesn't need introduction because they have been around for so long and they have been doing such an amazing work in advancing the industry and advancing adoption. Then Bitstamp is also an OG, an original gangster company based out of Europe. And we are also proud to be working with Nexo, with uHodler, Exmo, which is an exchange out of London. So basically what's interesting and cool about the vault, that it does not only protect your assets and lets you interact with various smart contracts or with the web browser, but it also comes with an NFT layer. So you can mint NFTs if you like, and you can hook it up with various market data softwares, with regulatory reporting if you want. And through the APIs, everything is connectable. And also want to highlight the support, the last element, because I believe it sets us apart from other providers, that we offer a dedicated partner or the dedicated person to all our partners in order to have someone they can turn to in order to basically highlight which blockchain they want to have next on the roadmap, or what type of features they wish to see in the near future. Now, it's important to highlight that not all blockchains which are integrated into the Nano, into the B2C product, are available on the B2B side, because security is not a sprint. We always say that security is a marathon. And because here we talk of a high volume of assets, we are extremely careful and run a lot of tests before we release a blockchain. And it also takes longer because how the technical setup is done on Ledger Enterprise, it takes longer to integrate. So here you see all the protocols which are natively integrated, and the ERC20 tokens here, just a few are listed because today the Ledger Vault supports more than 2,500 ERC20 related coins. We are the quickest to add these, and on 2 weeks cycles, we always integrate new ERC20s. A few data points relating or wallet management of 2021. So you see that 2 million transactions happened, and what is the average size of these transactions going out from the vault and coming into the vault, and other services which are available from within the Ledger Enterprise environment, such as staking, smart contract interaction, and exchanging coins as in swapping. We also have a MetaMask-like integration where so far we allowed 2 dApps. We integrated 2 dApps, which is Paraswap and Lido, and you see on the roadmap which are the next ones we are going to integrate. I would love to just give you an overview of the Ledger Vault architecture. So basically, when you log into the environment, you go to the URL of URL, like excuse my pronunciation. You go to the browser, and then you launch Ledger Enterprise. And the only way you can log into the environment is with your personal Ledger Blue, which looks like this. It has a blue background or blue back. It can be also green in case you are an administrator on the platform. We differentiate among 2 roles, the operator and the administrator. And you cannot log in with your colleagues' Ledger Nano. So you have to carry this device actually with you if you are working with the Ledger Enterprise. And then the software is going to recognize that, oh, okay, so this is Emi who logged in. And I see then, I can see that, oh, I have 2 pending transactions to execute where I have to sign. So I sign through this device, to the very same device, because I have to just review if this is the right amount to the right blockchain or to the right address. And so this little device communicates through the secure channel with the HSM, which is this hardware security module where the customer has a dedicated compartment where not only the private keys, but also the governance layer is stored and it is encrypted there. So once the HSM recognizes that, okay, so Emi did complete the 2nd transaction, and now we have 2 signatures out of 2, and I'm giving you an example. You can have 4 signatures out of 5 or 2 out of 3, then the blockchain or the transaction is going to be completed on the blockchain, and it's going to be posted on the public blockchain. I would love to ask if you have any questions here too, but we will take the questions then later. Securing high value transactions. So the governance layer is here, so there is no single point of failure. Maybe you have a higher transaction, let's say more than 15 Bitcoins need to be sent. Then the operator creates a transaction of 15 Bitcoins to the whitelisted address, because this is the address where you guys are frequently sending, and you want to eliminate the risk that you're sending to a wrong address. So you whitelist a given address. And then the 2nd and the 3rd operator also have to verify. So basically 6 eyes are checking the correctness of this transaction, what is about to be completed. And once the validation happened and the rule on this wallet has been completed, then the transaction is going to be executed. What is also nice, and from audit purposes, this is so important, that you can have various multi-authorization, conditional flows, approval groups, maybe some of your clients of this institution who uses the ledger want to have view-only access. So you can allow that. There is no problem doing that. Or you can just give them access to specific wallets, not all wallets across the board. If some of you uses Ledger Live and you're a customer of the Nano, then you see that the user interface is a bit similar to Ledger Live. This is a little snippet of setting up a conditional flow, a conditional rule. And so I mentioned that there are 2 roles, the administrators and the operators on the platform. And if something happened, like someone suddenly would leave the company, then you can revoke their access immediately. But with the speed of revoking access, you can also give access to a new colleague. So really, like, you can configure the user management or the user roles by the click. It's really intuitive. what is definitely a gift in the world of crypto, where things can get complicated. And you can also pull reports straight from the platform. Now, insurance. So insurance has been an aspect or a service what more and more institutions want to have and require. And we have 150 million worth of platform insurance available on the wallet, currently in the process of increasing this. It's going to be a significantly higher coverage. And this doesn't mean that every individual client has up to 150 coverage, but collectively, this is a platform insurance. And also to highlight that some platforms, especially if you require as an institution an on-premise setup, it can take up until 3-4 months to have a solution up and running. However, we take approximately 2 weeks in order to set up the Ledger Enterprise for you. With that, secure what you can't afford to lose, right? Not your keys, not your crypto, your keys, your freedom. This is another version of that, and I hope that you did learn something throughout this presentation. And if you would like to stay in touch, it would be super nice if you followed Ledger on Twitter. And I also added my personal handle in case, and if you are interested in learning more about the Crypto Valley Association, then you can contact me on LinkedIn or at emi.lorincz@cryptovalley.swiss. Also, because this presentation is going to be available, I included a few links which I find useful in there. The World Without Bitcoin by Alex Gladstein, which really I hope many of you will listen to and read. Thank you so much for the attention.